Good morning, Facebook. This is Dr. Hubert at Advanced Remedy Center, and today is Thyroid Thursday. Thyroid Thursday is the day we've all been waiting on. It's not Thirsty Thursday, it's Thyroid Thursday. So I hope all of you are having a good day. I hope your day is off to a good start. And today we're just going to talk a little bit about thyroid health. I know there are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to the overall health of the thyroid. So when we start thinking about thyroid health, most people realize things like they're lacking energy, or they're struggling to lose weight, or they have cold hands or cold feet, or dry skin or dry scaly scalps, or losing hair for no apparent reason. We also see changes in digestion, and may possibly be things like acid reflux or constipation or diarrhea. All of these things are typical of hypothyroid issues, okay? So hypothyroid problems, meaning you're not able to make enough thyroid hormone. So the difference between hypo and hyper, a lot of people get confused with that. Hypo is when you don't have the ability to make enough thyroid hormone. Hyper is when you make too much thyroid hormone. So when we look at thyroid hormone, most people are smart enough to realize when they go home and they Google and they start to try to figure out why they don't have any energy, or why they can't lose weight, or they can lose a certain amount of weight and then hit this dreaded plateau and not be able to get past it, no matter how many push-ups, sit-ups, or miles they run, or how much they starve themselves. What we have to realize is that there's a lot going on, okay? So there's more to it than your physical willpower, your desire to lose these pounds, okay? So when we look at hypothyroidism, when we look at our body's ability to make thyroid hormone, we have to understand that it comes with a lot of symptoms, but when we go to our doctor and tell our doctor, look, I think I have a thyroid problem, most of the time the doctor basically does a few basic thyroid tests. They'll usually check T3, T4, TSH, and more often than not, those tests come back normal. And they come back within a normal range, I should say. So this is very frustrating to most people. The reason it's extremely frustrating is because when you look at a list of hypothyroid symptoms, you're going to see a long list. And when you know you're experiencing 10, 12, 15, 18, 20 things on the list, and your doctor tells you that you're within normal range, part of you thinks, I need a better doctor, or that other part is say, well, what next? Where do I go from here? So it creates a lot of confusion. So just to clear up some of that confusion today, it's not that your doctor is bad at what they do. The problem is there is no definitive, direct thyroid test that is 100% the gospel. And that's why when I work with a patient with thyroid issues, the first thing I do is a comprehensive exam. We order the correct blood work, but we use that blood work. We don't use it to justify prescribing medication. The goal is to make sure that your body is able to produce the hormones necessary for your body to produce energy. And that's ultimately what this boils down to. But the biggest problem is the test itself. There's not one single test that will tell you everything you need to know. You need other things, okay? So you need an AST, you need an ALT, you need an MCD, you need an A1C, okay? So these are all things that you put in conjunction to, and it works as a checks and balances. It's almost like a bank, okay? So a bank doesn't just take the money at face value. They have lots of different levels to check themselves for mistakes. So I brought some blood work that was done recently, and I just wanted to kind of show you what happens with this TSH. And what TSH means, so I'm going to move this up here, and you'll see TSH right here in the corner. That TSH stands for thyroid stimulating hormone. Thyroid stimulating hormone is what TSH means. This is, in my opinion, this is the most valuable of the thyroid tests. But other people have other opinions. But the TSH is basically the brain's ability to communicate with the thyroid. So it's your brain talking to your thyroid. As that number goes up, or as that number gets higher, what that is telling us is that your thyroid is sluggish or slow, or in a hypothyroid state, okay? It's not making enough thyroid hormone. So when you look at the normal range for the TSH, okay, the same thing I just held up here, you see this number being from 0.4 to 4.1, okay? But it's actually measured by the thousandth, okay? So it's measured by the thousandths, but it's from 0.4 to 4.1. Now, if you start counting by the thousandths and you're trying to get from 0.4 to 4.1, counting by the thousandths of a point, you are talking about enough numbers to fill this room. And if you fall anywhere in that area, they're going to tell you you're normal. Even though you're maybe holding a handful of your hair, your feet and hands may be about to freeze off, you may be gaining weight faster than you've ever gained in your entire life, they're still going to tell you your thyroid is fine. Your thyroid is great. And there's nothing more frustrating than hearing this when you know that there is a problem. And the way I explain this is it's almost like kicking a field goal. You know, I've never ever attempted to kick a field goal in my life. Okay, I wasn't not a football player. I was actually a golfer. So I've never attempted to kick a field goal. But you know, I know for a fact that if they put me on the 15-yard line and they made the goalpost as wide as the football field, that I could probably get it through the uprights, right? So, but if they moved me back to the 30, 40, 50-yard line and played by NFL regulations with the goalpost, I could probably sit out there all day and never get it through. Okay, so this is what's happening is your goalpost is way too wide when you go to have your thyroid check. So when you go to have your thyroid check and you have something like a TSH check, you want to see that number at 1.0 or less. 1.0 or less is what you're looking for. Now, you also want to make sure that you're paying attention to your body. Your body will never lie to you. Blood work, I'm not going to say will lie to you, but it's very deceiving, okay? So it's very tricky. So just getting one fragment of information from the human body is almost worthless. You know, when you get a TSH, you want to get an MCV, you want to get an A1C, you want to get an AST, ALT. You know, you want to check these things. This is what I call my weather report. And that weather report is a very thorough overview of exactly what's happening in your body. And when you get all of this information, when you get all of it and put it together, combined with a real physical exam, which is probably the greatest disservice that's happening in all of medicine today, is the physical exam doesn't exist anymore. When you go to the doctor and you have a problem, okay, so you go to the doctor, they check your vitals, they ask you a few questions, they may listen to you breathe, but that is not a physical exam. Most of the time they can't even tell you your eye color, much less anything about your body. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to your fingernails, toenails, tongue. What's that white coating on your tongue? What's the crevice going down the center of your tongue? Why do you have dry, cracked heels? Why do you have a dry, scaly scalp and itchy ears? All of these things are telling us what's happening in real time. So this just gives you a little insight, a little help on understanding why thyroid hormone issues end up being misdiagnosed. So it's not that your doctor's a bad person, okay? So they don't want you to be sick any more than you want to be sick. But the testing itself, the standalone testing itself, is really not 100% the gospel. Now, there are certain things on blood work that when you see it, it's an absolute. When you see an A1C that's over 5.2, you're a diabetic no matter what, okay? So that's just what it is. You're not pre-diabetic, you're not kind of diabetic, you're not almost diabetic, you're not getting ready to be a diabetic. You are a diabetic, okay? So that means there is too much sugar in the blood, and that's an absolute. With the thyroid, there's no definitive test that tells us that fully. So we need to learn how. We need to learn how to put these things together, but most importantly, pay attention to your body. I mean, spend time, look at your tongue, look at your hair. Notice when you're losing hair. Notice when you have cold hands, cold feet. You can literally go down to you can go to your local Home Depot or parts store or whatever may have you, and you can get these little handheld digital thermometers. Take a tongue temperature and take a toe temperature. Your tongue temperature should be 98.6. Your toe temperature should be 90 or above. If you take that toe temperature right out of your shoe or sock and it's down in the 70s, heat is a sign of energy. That means you're not converting sugar to energy well, and you're in a hypothyroid state. So these are just a few things that'll help you on Thyroid Thursday. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. I hope you take and use some of these things to better yourself, better your health. If you have any comments, any questions, please post them below, and don't forget to like and share this if you want to keep these things coming. Y'all have a wonderful day.